everyone, this is Marika and welcome back to another session with me. We are dealing with the fifth unit, that is methods of teaching. And under methods of teaching, we have completed many methods of teaching. We've learned about what are those methods, what are the purposes, what are the characteristics of particular methods, and what are the techniques involved in carrying out a certain method of teaching. We have also discussed about the advantages and disadvantages of each of the method. Today, we are going to deal with another method of teaching, that is symposium. We have dealt with seminar and we have a thorough knowledge about what is seminar, how it is conducted. Symposium is also considered similar to seminar. We are going to see in detail what is a symposium, what are the different purposes, what are the characteristics, what is the difference between a symposium and a seminar, what are the various advantages and different disadvantages of conducting a symposium. Term symposium may be a new term for you all. To generalize, symposium can be called as a technique of discussion. When I say technique of discussion, it means symposium is a form of discussion. It is a type of discussion. What actually happens in symposium? It is a form of discussion, a discussion where there will be two or more speakers, and those speakers will speak for about 15 to 20 minutes. It is a type of discussion where there will be two or more speakers, and those speakers will be discussing or speaking about a topic for about 15 to 20 minutes. What is actually discussed in a symposium is usually a problem. They take a particular problem. There will be around 2 to 3 speakers. Those speakers will talk about 15 to 20 minutes. It is a form of discussion. Talk about the problem and their approaches or their solution towards a particular problem. Now, symposium is a discussion technique that is used for higher learning. You must all be thinking that symposium sounds quite like seminar. Yes, symposium, as I said in the beginning, is almost like seminar, but symposium is a kind of discussion technique that is usually used for discussing a controversial topic. In seminar, we've seen they take a problem and they talk about the problem, they present a problem, they talk about the approaches towards the problem. But in symposium, controversial topics are discussed. So symposium is the best method to discuss controversial issues. If we take nursing and think about controversial issues, symposium can be used to discuss topics like professional status of nursing and impact of Consumer Protection Act on nursing. Controversial topics are taken up, and symposium is the best method to deal with controversial topic, to have discussion on controversial issues. Symposium is a form of discussion. It is a technique of discussion where one single topic is taken, one single problem is chosen, different viewpoints and opinion regarding the single problem or the single aspect is discussed, and it is discussed under the guidance of chairman. In symposium, a particular problem is taken. This issue is the topic. For this topic, we do not share opposite idea or contradictory ideas for this particular topic. Rather, different aspects or different viewpoints of an individual on this particular topic is exchanged under the guidance of chairman. Different individual will have different aspects, different approach towards that problem. Now, in symposium, a single problem with different individuals who have different aspects towards the problem, who have different viewpoints, are brought together and is discussed. Symposium is an effective method of teaching and learning. It can be used in teaching and learning, and it can be one of the most effective methods if controversial topics are chosen, if the topic to be discussed in the symposium is chosen correctly. What does the term symposium means? The term symposium was used by Plato to describe good dialogue when he presented view towards God. So this term symposium has different meanings in dictionary. But by Plato, the term symposium was used for good dialogue. He used the symposium as good dialogue when he presented his viewpoints on God. Another meaning of the term symposium is intellectual recreation or enjoyment. As I said, symposium has different meanings if we search it up in dictionary. When it was used by Plato, Plato used the term as a synonym for good dialogue when he was presenting his view towards God. Let us see the definition of symposium. Symposium is defined as a technique of discussion. Symposium is defined as a technique that serves as an excellent method of informing the audience, crystallizing their opinion, and preparing them for arriving at a decision about a particular problem. This definition says that symposium is a technique which serves as an excellent method, or it can be used as an excellent method to inform the audience. As I said, in symposium we have speakers. The speakers will be speaking about a particular topic for about 15 to 20 minutes. Here what happens, the audience who are there watching the symposium, listening to the symposium, will get a lot of information about a particular topic. Different aspects are discussed. It will provide the audience with a lot of information. It is an excellent method of informing the audience, crystallizing their opinion, and also preparing them to come to a decision about that particular problem of discussion. In symposium, we give information, a lot of information about one single problem, different aspects of a single problem to the audience, a lot of information. It will also help to crystallize the opinion of the audience, and also it will prepare them to come to a decision after they have listened to the symposium. For example, if I was not aware about professional status of nursing, I know what it is, but I do not have a clear picture about it. I attend a symposium on that particular topic. Now, what happens for this particular aspect, for this particular single topic, we have different 2 or 3 different speakers who speaks and share their opinion, their point of view about this particular problem or this particular statement. I get not only one viewpoint of one single individual, I get different viewpoints, different opinions, and different facts about this particular statement. And I will be able to gain knowledge about different aspects. This will help me to analyze the problem properly, to understand the problem clearly, and also to arrive at a particular decision about the topic of discussion. Let us now discuss the purposes of symposium. The first purpose is to understand the various aspects of a single problem. So from the introduction, I have been saying in symposium, one single problem is taken and different aspects of that problem is discussed. To identify and understand the various aspects of a single problem is one of the major purposes of conducting a symposium. Next one is to develop the ability to come to a particular judgment. I have explained that through symposium we gain knowledge, and not just from one single individual or not just of one particular aspect. We gain knowledge from different aspects. So we will be able to analyze those aspects and finally arrive at a decision about a particular problem. The second purpose of the symposium is to develop the ability of decision making, or to provide a judgment on the particular topic. Now, if I have a sound knowledge about the particular topic, I will be able to give my judgment towards that topic or towards that aspect. Next one is to develop feelings and values towards a particular problem. It will help us to develop feelings and values towards that particular problem. Again, if we understand the problem in depth, if we understand the different aspects involved in the problem, it will obviously help us develop values and feelings towards that problem. Another purpose of symposium is to enable the listeners or the audience form policies regarding the problem or a theme that is discussed. It will also help the audience to form policies regarding that particular problem or a particular theme of discussion. Next one is to provide understanding to the listener about the problem or the theme. The discussion is held so that the audience will be able to understand and have a complete knowledge on the particular problem or a particular theme. When symposium is conducted in educational institution, within the educational institution, it will boost the student's ability to speak in group. So it will boost the confidence of the student if conducted in educational institutions. And the last purpose is to investigate the problem from different aspects. It will help us to understand the problem better, and not just understand it, it will help us to investigate the problems not just from one particular angle or not just from one particular point of view, but from different aspects. So these are the various purposes of symposium. Conducting a symposium will give a proper insight about the problem to the audience. It will help the audience to come to the judgment, or it will help the audience to take a proper decision about the problems that are being faced. It will help the audience to have different aspects of knowledge on the topic. And it will also help to boost the confidence of the student when it is conducted in an educational institution. It will also help the audience or the listeners to actually investigate the problem from different aspects. I hope you've understood what is symposium and what are the purposes of symposium. Moving on, let us discuss the characteristics of symposium. The first characteristics is symposium provides a broad understanding of the topic. As I said, that in symposium, different aspects of a particular topic is discussed. Therefore, it will provide broad understanding of a particular topic. That is the first characteristic. Symposium, whenever it is conducted, the speakers must be made sure, the speakers must be aware about the topic they are speaking and what they are going to speak regarding the particular topic, so that they can provide a lot of information on the topic to the audience. The next characteristic is the listener is provided with the opportunity to make a decision. So decision about the problem which is discussed. As we have discussed in the purposes, it will help the listener to come to a conclusion because they will gain a proper and thorough knowledge on the topic. It will help the listener to come to a particular conclusion and make a judgment or make a decision. Next characteristic is symposium is used in higher education for specific problems. Also, symposium can be used as a method of education or method of teaching in order to discuss specific problems. As I said, symposium is usually chosen and taken up for controversial issues. So in higher education, if anything as such is there which says or which requires symposium to be conducted, it can be used. Next, we have principles of symposiums. To conduct any educational activity, to conduct any method of teaching, we know there are certain principles and guidelines that are to be followed. Even for symposium, we have certain principles to be followed, and we will discuss in detail what are those principles. The first principle is the speeches given by the speakers must be argumentative, it must be persuasive, and it must be informative. The speakers are the key person in symposium. The speeches that they give must be persuasive, it must be argumentative for discussion, and it must be informative. So the speaker, while they make their speeches, while they plan for speeches, must see that the speeches are interesting with a lot of information for the audience. The speech is also argumentative so that the discussion is made lively after the symposium, and it must be persuading so that people come to a judgment to make a decision according to their point of view. Next characteristic is summary before conclusion. A summary on the entire symposium conducted must be made. So giving a summary before concluding the symposium will help the audience recollect whatever was spoken during symposium. The next characteristics is during a symposium, if a speaker is speaking, there should be no interruption. So each speeches are carried out without any interruptions. If I'm speaking on a particular topic, if I am providing my viewpoint on the particular topic, the audience or other people included in the symposium are not allowed to ask questions or interrupt me in between. The next characteristics is a chairman must introduce the topic. So there should be a chairman in the symposium, and it is the responsibility of the chairman to introduce the topic of symposium, the topic for discussion of the particular session of symposium. The next responsibility of the chairperson is to give or suggest the importance of the topic of discussion. So if there is a chairperson, he is not just there to introduce the topic, but he must also say why is it important to discuss this topic, what are the importance of this topic. The chairperson introduces the topic, and then the chairperson also suggests the importance of the particular topic that is chosen for discussion. The participants must be seated with the chairperson with him in the middle. For a symposium, the chairperson sits in the middle and the participants sits behind him. So in a symposium, the participants and a chairperson, the chairperson sits together, but the chairperson must be sitting in between the participants. So in middle, the chairperson will sit and the participants will sit on the side of the chairperson. Next, we have guidelines to be followed while conducting a symposium. All members who are performing in the symposium can sit behind the table in a single row with the chairperson in the middle. That is the first guideline. And the participants will be sitting on the sides of the chairman. So here behind a table, all the members will be sitting, the chairperson will be sitting in the middle and participants will be on the side. The next guideline is introduction of the topic, and suggesting the importance of the topic is done by chairman. The next guideline is 2 or more speakers speaks for 10 to 20 minutes. Those speakers will be speaking on the particular topic for about 15 to 20 minutes. As I said, there should be no interruption while the speeches are given by the speaker. But after the speeches are concluded, now once all the speaker has spoken and given their speeches, it is followed by asking questions from the audience or comments from the audience. Now let us see role of personals in symposium. In the beginning only, I said a symposium is quite similar like a seminar. The role that is carried out in symposium is also similar to the roles that are carried out by personals in seminar. In symposium, even though the roles are similar to what is dealt or what is done in seminar, here the chairperson has to exert more control over the group, especially over the audience, especially over the speaker, so that while they speak, because as I said, in symposium, speakers speak about controversial issues usually. The chairperson has to exert more control over the speakers so that they do not cross the limit while they are expressing their viewpoints. For a symposium to be successful, because the chairperson has more power and control over the speakers, the chairperson must maintain a non-judgmental attitude and must give equal opportunities for all the speakers during the speeches. Next, we have techniques. The techniques of seminar. The first one is introductory speech by the chairperson. Next is invitation of the speakers to speak point of views and opinions. After the speeches are done, the chairperson opens the discussion session. Now, a very important thing to remember here is in symposium, more time is given for the discussion rather than the speeches. In seminar, we have seen seminars conducted for 1 to 2 hours where people will be discussing different point of views, different knowledge they have on a particular topic. But in symposium, the speakers are given time for about 15 to 20 minutes and more time is implemented or used for having or carrying out a discussion on the topic. Now let us see what is the difference between a seminar and a symposium. The first difference between a seminar and a symposium is, in seminar, topics that are related to recent trends and development are taken. Whereas in symposium, we know controversial issues or controversial topics are taken for discussion. So that is the first difference. In seminar, recent topics or recent trends and developments are taken, whereas in symposium, controversial issues or controversial topics are taken for discussion. The second difference is, in seminar, multiple aspects of a particular topic is discussed. But in symposium, we know single aspect of the particular topic is discussed. If we take symposium, we only take single aspect from the topic and we discuss about that aspect from the topic. Whereas here in seminar, if a topic is chosen, multiple aspects of this topics are discussed. In seminar, the chairperson do not have to exert more control over the speaker or the group, whereas in symposium, time, the chairperson has to exert more control over the speakers. In seminar, there is less time given for discussion, whereas in symposium, more time is given for discussion. And the last difference is in seminar, less preparation time is required, whereas for symposium, the preparation time for the participants are more. Whereas in symposium, more time is required for preparation. These are the various differences of seminar and symposium. Let us now see what are the advantages of symposium. Now, symposium is suited for a large group of people or for a large class. Symposium can be used to present broad topics. The next advantage is organization of symposium is very good and very well planned, as the speeches by the speakers are pre-prepared. So it is not done on the spot. The preparation time that is taken by the speaker is more, and the symposium comes out to be well organized. The next advantage is symposium gives deeper understanding or deeper insight on the topics. For a single aspect of the topic, we are discussing different point of views. The speakers are speaking, giving their point of views and their opinions about a particular aspect of the topic. There are 2 or 3 different speakers, so it will obviously give us a proper insight. It will give the audience proper insight about the topic. Next, we have disadvantages. First disadvantage is inadequate opportunities for the students to participate. As I said, in symposium, only 2 to 3 speakers will be there. So every student might not get equal opportunity to participate in symposium, like in group discussion. Next disadvantage is speech is limited for only 15 to 20 minutes. There's a speaker who wants to share more information or who has more knowledge or point of view regarding a particular topic, that is not allowed because the speech limit is given for only 15 to 20 minutes. That is one of the disadvantages. Now, question and answer session, I said after the speeches, the discussion will open. The question answer session will also be limited to only 3 to 4 minutes. That means there is time that is given for each of the activities in symposium. Sometimes if I am the audience and if I have a doubt and I have to ask the doubt to the speaker, now the speaker is explaining me about the doubt that I have asked, about the question that I have asked, will not be able to justify the answer. I might not understand it clearly within the given time frame. But then the question answer session is limited to only 3 to 4 minutes. This is one of the major disadvantage of symposium. Next one is limited audience participation. And while the speech is going on, the chairperson, even though the chairperson has to exert more control over the speeches or the speakers, the chairperson, while the speaker is speaking, the chairperson cannot interrupt. As I said, in symposium, there is no interruption while they are speaking. So what happens? The chairperson will not have control while they are giving actual speeches. Next one is probability of repetition of the content. Now, because a single aspect of a particular problem is discussed by many people, there are chances that the content will be repeated by the speakers. The last one is the listeners or the audience remain passive during symposium because they do not have or they are not allowed to ask questions during the speeches. Because the audience are not allowed to speak in between, there's no interruption in symposium, the audience remain as a passive listener, which is also one of the major disadvantage of the symposium process. So to conclude, today we have discussed about what is symposium, what are the techniques of symposium, what are the different characteristics and guidelines of symposium, how is symposium different from seminar, and what are the various advantages and disadvantages of symposium. I hope the class was helpful and I'll see you all in the next session. Thank you and have a great day.